Hi there, I am SBell from SBell Wellness, and I am so excited to share with you about gut health. And to talk about gut health, I first want to mention toxins and how they really affect our gut health. So we have what's called body burden. And so that's really what we're thinking about when we're trying to understand how toxins impact our body over time. And so you actually might have been born with hardly any toxins in your body. However, studies have been telling us that babies are now being born with over 280 chemicals in their body that have been stored and passed on by their mother. So they're coming into the world with that many toxins in the body that the body has to try to repair from. And so what are toxins? Well, they're chemicals and they come from our food, our water, our air, our cleaning products, our personal care products, our medications, so many ways that these toxins are coming into our body. And if you start to think about your body as a bucket that over time is filling up more and more until it overflows. And that overflow is actually illness. That's when we start to experience those things. So detoxification is so incredibly important. And of course, we have our kidneys, our liver, our stomach, our pancreas, all these things that are intended to filter out our toxins. But again, our bodies were not designed for the amount of toxins that we are exposed to. And so it's overtaxing those organs, spilling into other parts of our body, and hence all of these kind of illnesses that can result. But the good news is that studies have shown that if we focus on lowering our toxic load and we love on those organs that are helping us filter it out, we can decrease exposing ourselves to numerous health conditions. And so that's why talking about gut health is so important, because it's one of those organs that we really want to love on so that we can help the body be able to manage from that. So 74% of Americans deal with gut health issues. 74%. That's incredibly crazy when you think about it. There's that many people that are dealing with gut health issues in some way. So everybody can improve their gut health by optimizing really two areas that we could focus in on. So one, proper nutrition for whoever the individual is that we're talking about. So as a health coach, I really think that individualizing nutrition is very important, but proper nutrition. And then two, using some oils and natural solutions for digestive health. So those are the things we are going to focus in on. So first up, let's talk about nutrition. So you guys, food has changed so much in a short time period, actually. So, these foods, they are typically, full of GMOs, genetically modified organisms. These were only introduced into our society in the late 90s. That's crazy when you think about that. And the reason why they were introduced is to maximize profit. So just pause for a second and think about that, right? So it really wasn't about making sure that we could have food. It's about maximizing profit. And these are processed foods that I'm talking about. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because typically we're busy people. We're eating fast. We're grabbing packaged and processed food because it's convenient. And then our body is having to deal with that. It really is wreaking havoc on our guts. Scientists actually refer to our gut as a second brain. So we really want to make sure that we are paying attention to that. So if we're paying attention to gut health, we're paying attention to brain health. 70 to 80% of our immune system is in our gut. 90% of the serotonin, that's our happy chemical. That's our mood support. It's gut related. And so we need to make sure that we are tuning into that. So what do we do nutrition-wise? Well, one, you actually can have yourself tested for heavy metals. And so some people may have been dealing with things for a long time, can't really get to the root of it. And so working with an integrative medical professional who can help you see if looking at whether you have some heavy metal toxicity would be helpful for detox. That's one area that's could be helpful. And then two, which I am a big fan of, is food sensitivity testing. So this is really helpful because inflammation is often the root of illness. And if we have food sensitivities, then we are really allowing the body to have this unhealthy amount of inflammation, which leads to disease. So sometimes we might not realize that something that we ate really was what was impacting us because there's a delay. There could be even a 72-hour delay in our body for a reaction to something we eat. And so we might not realize that we have this sensitivity because of that. And then also, it's not always a digestive symptom, right? It can be, head tension, fatigue, joint and muscle pain, skin issues, allergy issues. All of these things can actually come up when it actually originated in the gut. So that's really hard because we might be thinking of how to address all of these other things and not really getting to the root problem of it. Because we're not necessarily seeing gas, bloating, nausea, upset stomach, bowel movement issues, those kind of things. Might not necessarily be seeing that, so we're not tuning into it being a gut issue. I personally, on my journey, had dealt with migraines since I was 5 years old, and I did have some GI symptoms. However, it really wasn't looked at for gut health until I started working with integrative medical professionals and really got to the root of it, did food sensitivity testing, and was able to eliminate and really start to use some natural solutions to heal that. And so I have been able to move past those things that were a part of my life for a really long time because we were able to look at gut health. And so I do encourage you to look into food sensitivity. There are many different ways to do that. I do recommend, working with an integrative medical professional for that, just because there are lots of different tests out there, and it's helpful to have someone who knows how to interpret the results and help guide you with that. The next thing we can do is make sure that we eat real food, right? So those processed products that I was talking about earlier, they're really just food products. It's not real food. They're things that were created in a lab to mimic food. And unfortunately, in the American diet, that standard American diet, or SAD diet, kind of ironic, is, that we really are finding lots of things wrong with this processed food. So what I do recommend is choosing organic. This way you are limiting your pesticides, you're eliminating GMOs, all of these things that you want to make sure that you're avoiding. Also avoiding farm factory animals. Want to make sure we're not getting these synthetic hormones in our body. And you also want to make sure that you are aware of how these animals are treated, because you are taking in that animal product, which can result in you kind of having some of those same feelings that the animal might have had. Also limiting sugar. So this is crazy. The average person has about 34 teaspoons of sugar a day. It's recommended that we have 26 grams or 6 teaspoons a day. So that's almost 6 times the amount of recommended sugar that people are taking in, because it's in everything. It's hidden in so many different ways, called so many different names. And so we really just have to be label detectives and just start to be aware of it. It's not something that, people talk about like, oh, it's willpower. It's not. It's actually biologically an addiction that happens because sugar was designed for that. And so we want to make sure that slowly we can move away from that by crowding it out with other things that we can kind of be able to get what we're looking for from that. And so we'll move in to talk about the 4R mindset. So what are some things that we can do to kind of help the body remove these things that have been just bad for our body, replace it with the good, kind of re-inoculate the environment of the gut, and then repair. So we'll talk about removing the bad. And so that's where I was saying, like those allergens, those sensitivities, irritants, even medications, really looking into if you are taking anti-inflammatory medications, if you're on antibiotics a lot, we really want to be thinking about that and really work with a physician to help move past that, or to use some natural solutions that you can replace that to help remove that bad that's been happening to the gut flora, and then replacing it with good. So hydrochloric acid is something that can be very helpful, and digestive enzymes, which I'll talk about in a minute. And then vital nutrients. We want to make sure that we're really getting the nutrients that our body needs. This is incredibly so important for mood health. So many mood disruptions, neurotransmitter imbalances, where people are having to look to medication to get that balance, are actually nutrient deficiencies. So it's really important to dig into that. And one way to do that with doTERRA products is the Lifelong Vitality. These vitamins are a whole food complex, and so again, your body's going to get what you need. You're going to be able to absorb it well. You've got your omegas in there, which are awesome for brain health. It's also really helpful to get that bad inflammation that I was talking about kind of out of the body. It helps to flush that out. And then your alpha CRS, which is really going to go to support at that cellular level for that energy. It's like that gas pedal for energy. And so this is a really good way to start looking at bumping up those nutrients. So replacing with good by getting these nutrients, because we're not getting what we need from food, even when we are eating well, just because the soil's depleted. If we're cooking our food, it's actually starting to lose its nutritional value, or our body's ability to absorb it. All those kind of things are really impacting nutrition. And then the third thing that we want to do is re-inoculate. So re-inoculate means that we are reintroducing the good bacteria. Okay, so our gut flora actually really needs good bacteria to be able to function in the way that it was designed. And so you want to make sure that you are thinking about a prebiotic. Okay, so a prebiotic actually is the natural fertilizer for the probiotic, and then you want to have that probiotic. The really amazing thing about doTERRA's probiotics, PB Assist, is that it has the prebiotics and the probiotics together, and it has a time-released capsule, which means that when you take it, it will survive the harsh environment of the stomach and get to the small intestines, where we really need to reintroduce that good bacteria to the gut. There's also a PB Assist Junior, and so that one, the kids love it because it comes in powder form. And I have friends who like to sprinkle it on their kids like strawberries, and it just becomes this snack that they love to eat. And then they are really making sure that they are getting that good bacteria in their gut. It's also something that you can take as an adult if swallowing a pill is not something that you enjoy. So that is re-inoculating, making sure that we're reintroducing that good bacteria. And then we want to do some repair. So we want to nurture our gut lining. So there's things like glutamine and zinc and quercetin, which are all vitamins that are in that Lifelong Vitality pack that I talked about, and then digestive enzymes. So there are digestive enzymes in the Lifelong Vitality, but I highly recommend actually adding in the Terrazymes. Our body, you guys, is not making enough of them as we age. We really are becoming depleted of that. Our food, as I mentioned earlier, from a nutrition standpoint, but it's also very depleted of those digestive enzymes that we need. Heating up the food really does that. Processed foods don't even have any in there. And so we really need digestive enzymes in order for us to break down our food so that we can absorb it. So I do recommend taking the Terrazymes, 1 to 3 of them with each meal, to really help the body be able to do that, so you can break down all of the different foods that you are eating. And if you do have some sensitivities, I know people often have sensitivities to gluten. There's a specific enzyme in here that helps to break that down. And then there's a tummy tamer blend in here with peppermint and ginger and caraway, very soothing for the digestive system at the same time that you're taking those enzymes. All right, let's talk about some oils. So Digest Zen is just a powerhouse blend that doTERRA has to really support better digestion. It really helps to soothe the digestive tract. Ginger is another really awesome one. It is a very helpful digestive aid. It helps to really ease indigestion or nausea. Fennel is another one. It actually can help to curb appetite for sweets. So when I talked about trying to crowd out those sugars, we can use fennel to help with that. And it also promotes healthy digestion. And so people who love licorice really enjoy the taste of fennel. If that is not something that you enjoy, you can actually take it in a capsule and just take it internally. You won't have to taste it, but you'll get the same benefit by taking it internally. So you guys, as you can see, gut health is an area that we really need to actively support for well care. Okay, I talked about how important it is for our immune system, how important it is for our brain health. And so when we can get to really looking at the gut as perhaps the root of some things that we might be dealing with, it's really going to help us. So we want to make sure that we are supporting our well care by getting to the root of it. So if we can implement these daily routines, like I mentioned, this will help us in our loved ones. So if you are sharing this with someone who might be dealing with this, so that we can all live this abundant life that we're looking to live, and not have to focus on illness so much, but we can actually focus in on well care. So I hope that this was helpful information. I'd love to be able to support you as a nutrition health coach. I actually would love to do just a discovery call with you to be able to help you kind of look at that for you individually. You know, I have some integrative medical professionals that I work with so that I can help you kind of look and explore that in a way that you feel like you need for your well care. So if you have questions or you would like to do that, jump on over to SBellWellness.com and you can get all my contact information over there. And I'd love to support you with gut health. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in, and don't hesitate to reach out. And I hope that you will come and join us for a class sometime soon. Take care and be well.